Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Gold Coast edition of the Village Law SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren and we've got just one guest with us this week, and it's a welcome back to Palm Beach coach Brett Budwee. Butters, great to have you back.
Good to be back, mate. How you been?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to that Champions League final, hey?
Definitely. I got the Man City jersey on today, actually. So
I did notice that. I did indeed. All right, so let's get to Palm Beach. You're currently sitting in 6th place at the moment. I do notice there that you're 3 points down. The ladder is showing you 3 points less than what you should actually have. What's the story there?
well, it's a result from last year's grand final. There was a bit of crowd violence towards the end of the game, and yeah, the federation brought in an independent tribunal or whatever to oversee the matter, and they decided the best course of action was to deduct 3 points from both first grade and reserve grade.
Just for Palm Beach? Just
for Palm Beach, yeah. I think Surface might have got a fine or something. We got a fine as well, but the outcome was that we appealed it and all the rest of it, but there was no positive outcome for us.
Okay. Was that an expensive exercise for the club?
I don't think, not money-wise, emotionally probably. But to be honest, Darren, I didn't realise how much of a burden it would be. It's a pretty large burden. You know, they say the table never lies, but in this case it does.
You'd be in fourth place otherwise.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't realise how much of a burden it would be to overcome. But we're working through it, and you know, the more wins we get, the higher up in the table. Well, then it'll be a no matter sort of thing. But it is a bit of a large burden to carry.
Have you used it as a like a motivational tool for the team?
It's probably hard to use it as a motivational tool because, you know, in our opinion and in my opinion, it was pretty unjust ruling. As far as my players never done nothing wrong. As a team, we were the best behaved senior team on the Gold Coast last year as far as yellows and reds and that go. So, you know, we felt that what had happened off the field, but we've been punished on the field sort of thing. So it is a bit of a prickly point. So I try not to bring it up at all, but you know yourself, you look at the table and there's an asterisk there, and then, to be honest with you, it says on that asterisk due to match sanction or sanction or something, which almost implies that we tried to cheat. You know, it almost implies that we played an illegal player or you know, something like that, where in actual fact had nothing to do with the team at all, you know. You
don't want to talk about it, but it's the first thing I brought up.
Yeah, well, yeah, it hasn't been really talked about even in the Premier League launch. It was sort of, you know, we didn't bring it up. We didn't want to create too much drama about it all. And, you know, because at the end of the day, it was an independent tribunal who made the decision, not actually Football Gold Coast. So
cop that on the chin and move on. So let's have a look at last weekend's results. You took on the champions in Surfers Paradise and you went down 3-1.
No, that was, we played Burleigh last week. That Surface game was earlier in the year.
Oh my goodness, I printed off the wrong sheet. Not for the first time either. Take us through the weekend's results, Brett.
So we beat Burleigh 4-1. You know, I think Burleigh were a little bit under strength, and they got us, you know, on a 6 o'clock kickoff down at Palmy, which is our favourite time. And we sort of got the job done pretty early. Had a lot of energy early in the first half, got the job done, and then, you know, the happy thing for me was we managed the game pretty well in the second half. And they scored a worldie free kick in the last minute sort of thing. But you know, real solid performance by us. I think Kingscliff had a draw with Broadbeach on the Friday night, which is 1-1. You know, it's a hard fixture, is the Friday night fixture, because a lot of the boys do manual labour jobs and stuff, you know. And then for Broadbeach to have to travel down to Kingscliff on a Friday night, I think they'll be pretty happy with that, walking away with a draw, because Kingscliff are a good team. I can't remember the other games.
Musgrave.
Who'd Musgrave play?
I don't know.
I think they got beat, tell you the truth.
Okay. Nerang,
Nerang played Surface. I'm pretty sure that was the Nerang Surface game.
right. Southport,
They must have been the ones that beat Musgrave then.
right. You've mentioned Broadbeach and Kingscliff, Runaway Bay and Robina.
Yeah, was that the fixture? I'm not sure if that was the fixture.
No, that's, I'm just going through all the teams.
Yeah, I know. Actually, Nerang beat Robina. I
Yep.
remember that's, yeah, they
right.
got the job then. I think Robina have got a few new players in, but Nerang are a quality team this year, so you know they're not going to drop many points. You know, to be honest, Darren, it's a pretty improved league this year. All the teams are quite strong. Obviously, Robina are struggling a little bit because like the whole team left. But for me, I consider it a much stronger league this year than it was last year.
Okay, even with the new clubs coming in.
Yeah, look, Kingscliff are really good. Pardon?
Or is it because there's new teams in?
Yeah, partially because they're in it. They're giving so there's more teams. So some younger guys are getting opportunities. Jaden Sonter at Musgrave's killing it. He's a young 17, 18-year-old lad. But you know, Kingscliff come into the league and they recruited a couple of my first team squad members who were, you know, we had no injuries last year, so it was hard for some players to break into the first team. So they went there looking for opportunities, and you know, they're all quality players. So I knew Kingscliff would be right up there.
All right. So looking at the ladder, Surfers Paradise, 6-point gap at the top of the table on 22 points. Nerang in second on 16, Southport 14, and Broadbeach a point back. Broadbeach's position on the ladder, is that a surprise to you at all, or did you expect that they'd recover this season?
Look, I expected they'd recover. They always seem to have a strong influx of English players come over. We played them a couple of weeks ago on a waterlogged pitch where the game, in my opinion, probably shouldn't have gone ahead. Half my team were camping, so I gave 3 17-year-olds a debut that game, and they got us right at the end, sort of thing, which was, you know, a bit disappointing. But when you consider they lost to Runaway Bay early in the season as well, I think they're doing pretty well, Broadbeach.
All right, so let's have a look at this weekend's fixtures.
Yep.
We've got Surfers Paradise up against Broadbeach. How do you see that one going?
Look, Surfers is super strong this year, Darren. You know, they're any week or half week positions they had last year, they've filled that with, you know, really, really good players. That new guy, Daniel Sarek, or whatever his name is, he's quality. I'm not sure where he's come from. Looks like he's an NPL type player. But I can, you know, Surfers are hard to beat. I think they'll win that one.
We've been talking to Mark in recent weeks about if there's any possible team that can beat Surfers Paradise, and he nominated yourselves. And I believe it was, might have been Burleigh. Burleigh? No, Nerang. No, he said either Nerang or yourselves would be the teams that would beat them. What makes them so good, and what do you think it will take for a side to beat them?
It'll probably take a little bit of luck, to be honest with you. And you just have to match them. They play at a high intensity. You've got to match that intensity for the whole 90 minutes. They've got the best, you know, one of the best strike forces in the league, and their back line hasn't changed for you know, the whole season. They've had the same back four. They brought in Dean Wernerson, who's MPL standard. For me, they got, you know, one of the best wide defenders in Queensland in Barwick. He's really good, Dylan Barwick. But yeah, look, like I say, it's going to take a little bit of luck, but you just got to take your opportunities against Surfers, because that's what they do. If they get half an opportunity, all of a sudden you're 1-0 down. So you've got to do the same to them.
We've got Southport up against Kingscliff. That should be a cracker.
Yeah, that will be a good game. I'm hoping for a draw because they're above us. But look, Southport are really hard to beat at home. if it's a Southport home game. So
Yes, it is.
if I had to lean somewhere, I'd probably lean to the home team there.
Nerang up against Runaway Bay.
I think Runaway Bay have sort of changed their tact a little bit in the last couple of weeks. They played us and they played Surface, and they set up very defensively, try to frustrate you, stay in the game for as long as they can. I think it was only 4-0 against Surface, which is pretty impressive, you know, against that strike force. But yeah, I think they'll struggle a little bit.
And Carabina get their first points of the season up against Burleigh Heads.
I watched a bit of Burleigh Heads against Southport on Tuesday night, and although he's over 40, I think Christian Reese just makes the game look so easy. You know, he communicates well. He's talking to the strikers. He's talking to the wide players. He's a big asset for them when he plays. He didn't play against us because he had a groin injury. But yeah, I can't really see Rabina getting over Burleigh.
And finally, your mob are up against Musgrave.
Yeah, well, big game for us at home. You know, we've had 2 wins in a row now. If we really want to get into the top 4 and cause a bit of trouble, even though we've lost 3 points, we have to win our home games. And so, you know, we're expecting a big crowd down there on Saturday night. We've got the Coast League playing before, so it's 4 games in a row. So, you know, we're hoping. Last week was a bit like last year as far as the crowd support and the atmosphere and everything down at Palmy. So we're hoping that it's the same again this weekend.
I saw your video on the weekend of some of the crowd support that you've got. What's a good crowd at Palm Beach? What sort of numbers are we talking about here?
A few hundred, you know what I mean? I think towards the end of last season, you know, I know the Coomera game when we had the semi-final, we've been close to, you know, 1,000 people there, I reckon. But, you know, there was good banter before the game last week. The Burleigh crowd was sitting amongst the Palmy crowd, and there was, you know, go Burleigh, go Palmy, back and forth. But that was pretty quiet after about 20 minutes when we scored 3. So, but no, it was a good atmosphere last week. And like I said, it sort of reminded me of last year. So if we can keep that going, the kids down at Palmy are unbelievable. They know all the players' names. I think I said last year that we used to spend half an hour signing soccer balls in the dressing shed after the game. You know, they'll be lined up 30 deep to come in and get the soccer ball signed by the players. So it's a good culture, and something I've not really experienced at this level before.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
At games, do the fans sing songs?
Yeah, the Palmy Hill just basically sing the Palmy song non-stop, you know what I mean? We get the kids into the dressing sheds after the game to sing with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is, you know, from the first whistle to the 90th minute, there is crowd support, and it's pretty vocal. So I know it is intimidating for the other opposition players who come. So enjoy that.
What about at the other clubs? Are there any other clubs with traditions of being vocal?
Not particularly. Musgrave get a good home crowd up there. We copped a bit of a spray from the Kingscliff crowd in round 1, which I haven't experienced before. But they're all pretty well supported. Nerang are pretty vocal as well. Broadie have a balcony that sits over the field, and they all get up there and heckle you.
Good stuff. All right, let's turn our attentions now to the Coast League. And of course, Palm Beach do have a team in that competition as well. The big story from that competition is that Legends finally lost a game against.
Yeah, I've seen that. Tweed. Yeah, we played Tweed in the FA Cup, and they're a good young team, you know what I mean? And I know I probably played with most of the Legends players at some stage over the last 10 years. I seem to know all of them when they played us, or they played our Palm Beach team. But yeah, they're a bit of a surprise packet. They're just smart. They know how to play football. They know how to get on the right side of the referee. All those little things count when you're in a Coast League competition.
Exactly. Some big results on the weekend. So Tweed 5-1 winners over Legends. Talabudra 7-1 over Musgrave. Palm Beach 5-1 over Tambourine Mountain. Ormo 5-0 over Runaway Bay. And Pack Pines 3-2 over Nerang. So looking at the ladder, Legends are still on top. It's a 4-point gap now to Talabudra, who have played 2 games less. Tweed United on 16, Ormo in 4th. Palm Beach in 7th place on 9 points. Would you say that's a fair representation of where your team's at in that competition?
Yeah, that team for us is basically an under 23s team. So we didn't go with an under 18s JPL this year because we thought the comp would be a little bit weak. And so we gave those players an opportunity to play senior football. So it was always going to take a little bit of time for them to get used to it. I think they lost their first 3 or 4 games. But we have Nigel Witten, who was our reserve grade coach last year, who won the league. He's running that squad now, or those squads. So he's got good experience, and he knows how to prepare them for when they come up into the Premier League squads. But no, we're pretty happy with how the boys are going. Tullabudja are obviously a very strong team. They've got Matt Hilton. He'd have to score at least 40 goals, 50 goals in that league. And they're a bit like Legends, where they've got the old heads that know the game. And I expect Tullabudja and Tweed to at some stage jump Legends, I reckon.
Okay, so looking at this weekend's fixtures, Legends have the bye. Tullabudja are hosting Ormo, Palm Beach against Pacific Pines, Narang host Runaway Bay, Tambo Mountain against Tweed United, and Mudgeeraba against Musgrave. All right, Brett, I think that is it for us this week. Have you been watching the shows in previous weeks?
Yeah, watched a few, yeah. Definitely.
We're trying to get through all the teams and get them all on the show. So we're certainly sending out plenty of invitations. So if we haven't got your club on the show yet, we're trying.
Okay. Good.
But Brett, great to have you back with us this year. It's been a long time between drinks.
Yep, all good, mate. Enjoyed it.
Hopefully we'll get you back on in future weeks.
No worries.
Good stuff. All right, this has been the Village Law SEQFC preview show, the Gold Coast edition. We will see you guys next week.
Thanks, mate.